night's episode of the Group Therapy Podcast. Today we have coming out of Springfield, comic book artist and one of the coolest guys I know, Mr. Gary Church. Gary, tell us about yourself.
Thank you for the intro.
You're welcome.
I'm Gary Church. I was born and raised in Urbana, Ohio. Currently live in Springfield, Ohio. Friend of mine by the name of Bill Gladman, I happened to just meet up one day when, what's the guy's name? Scott used to have Main Street Comics and Games. Lucky to draw day that I went down there. There happened to be a bunch of artists or something going on down there. And I had one guy saying he's an artist, blah, 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 blah. And then we talked, and I was like, hey, I'm an artist too. He's like, oh, yeah? Well, we're not looking for any. I was like, all right, whatever. So then Bill came over to the side and was like, hey, do you draw? I was like, yeah. So he asked me to do a story for him. And then several other artists and writers got together, and we all decided to go ahead, and we were supposed to do this book for this guy, and his name of his company, I think, was Howling Wolf or something. I don't know what it was. But, well, he kind of janked everybody. And so several more of us got together. Well, me and Bill got together, and then I was like, we could do this by ourselves. We could do our own studio. So I got my brother. He got a Frank Rayner. Remember Frank, don't you?
Yep, no, Frank.
And that's basically how we started the studio. And so we had all this artwork, and then we just was grabbing different artists, and we put it together in one book. And plus, I had stories I had done in the past, and, so we put it together, and that's how we got Tales from the Field #1, which is a really rare book now because I don't like to go back and reprint it. I think we did 2 versions of it. So if you got Tales from the Field #1, I sell that from anywhere to $20 to $30 now. So, people are like, oh, you can't do it. I'm like, people will buy it. They have bought it, but I don't reprint that just for that reason. Now,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, yeah, I got reprints. Plus, we got 9 coming out, which is a tribute to my brother who passed away last year. And then we got 10, and that's going to have art from Jay Fife in it, who also did the cover for issue 8. And then on top of that, so I know I'm jumping around a lot, but this year there's the possibility of anywhere between 4 to 5 books to come out from us. So we haven't been out and about, and a lot of that's me because, I had to take a break. But everybody's still been doing artwork. And I still got a bunch of stuff that I got to put together. And hopefully this year will be a really good year for us. I'm hoping to be able to do PickleCon twice this year. Well, sorry I let you down last year.
We're only once this year.
Oh, is it?
But we're 1 2-day show now.
Really?
2 1-day shows. Yes. We're in a new location. We left the mall. We're at the Knights of St. John's Hall now. We're in a building by ourselves. I can now charge at the door. We're booking guests now and all that funness. Yeah.
Oh, count me in.
All right, cool. We got your table. And I was just going to ask you at the end of the show, too. So that got you right there. And now I'm going to start talking to couple local businesses because I want to do an after party from Saturday night before Sunday.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to try hitting the places that are like really close. And then if I have to, I have to go a little bit further away. But my goal is to bring in a band, do something really cool for the night with all the people from there. So, yep.
I know a member of my studio, Kevin Atkins, he's still in bands. I mean, he doesn't make the music like he used to, but he still knows bands and stuff. So hit him up, you know what I'm saying? And you ever heard of, I don't know if they're still together or not, Far From Eden?
Yeah.
Yeah,
my friend's in the band.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, Josh Vetters is one of my friends.
Oh, damn.
I've known Josh forever.
Oh,
Used to be my neighbor, too. He lived 5 houses down from me for the longest time, too.
Nice.
Now he's all married and shit. So.
Ain't we all?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I tell people this all the time. If it wasn't for my wife, I sure as hell wouldn't be here. I'd have been gone a long time ago, man.
That's
Because
true. I'm in the
she
same
keeps
boat.
me on the straight and narrow, keeps me out of trouble, and not so much anymore. But she got me to get my shit together finally, and now I'm Mr. Responsible, man. I
Kids,
don't, I
family
don't
man.
I don't drink, I don't party, I don't do none of that no more, man.
Oh no, I still drink and party. So
No, I no, I'm lazy now. I found edibles, and
yeah,
dude, I just sit down here at not about 9:30, 10 o'clock, man. I eat one, and then I'm done for the night.
that's hilarious.
And the nice part about it is no hangover the next day. Now, and I don't and I don't go to bars or nothing unless they got music or good food now, and so I stay out of trouble. I'm not gonna go get drunk and get into a fight or nothing. Now, just hang out at the house and I'm mellow. I don't argue. Me and my kid comes down here and hangs out with me, and I'm all chill because he doesn't see me drinking or nothing. So
Yeah,
yeah,
nice.
yeah,
I mean, that's there's nothing wrong with that. I
nope.
mean, usually what I for probably about the last 6 months up until I think November last year, usually once a week on Thursdays, I would go out and find a place to sit and drink. And the last several times I had gone out, just it wasn't good. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, man, screw this place, blah, 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 blah. So I find different ones. And so instead of doing that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to work out. So I started working out and I start feeling better.
Oh yeah, that's what I did too. A few
Yeah,
years ago, man. Shit. I'm trying to think of the last time me and you hung out. But man, at one point before I started going to the gym, I was closing in on 250.
really.
I was getting chubby, man. My face was all bloated out,
Yeah, I know. Mine's the same way.
and I started working out and I started eating right. And I go to the gym 3 days a week, and now I'm down. I fluctuate between 165 and 170.
Very nice.
I've got, and now it's funny because I told my wife, I was like, man, I was like, if I was one of them dudes that took pictures at the gym, I was like, one of these days I'd be like, bam, because I was all cut and shit from getting done. I like send a hot picture to my wife. Now I'm like, nah, fuck, I'm not that guy.
Oh, you just put it on Facebook. Next thing you know, your wife's hating you because all these girls are like, ah.
Well, the worst one is that because Mark goes with me. Mark goes to the gym with me. So does now my son Joe. And I'm sitting there one day with just me by myself. Both of them bailed on me. And I'm working out. These two guys come up to me and they're like, can we ask you a question? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, are you guys like a thing? And I'm like, no. You guys talk like you were been. I was like, dude. I was like, two gay guys are asking me, and they're like, I was like, no. I was like, he's been my friend for like 35 years. So we
Yeah,
give each other an epic level of shit because we've known each other forever.
yeah.
And the guy looks at me and goes, well, I just wanted to say you could do better. And I went, I know I can do better, but I have done better. I'm married to a great woman, so
No,
yeah. And it's so funny because some people go, well, how did you feel about it? I'm like, I don't care. I'm too fucking old to care.
you know what? If a dude walks up and says I look good, I'll take it as a compliment.
That's right. They got good taste in men.
That's right.
That's what I tell
Now,
somebody.
being that said, I accept your compliment. I'm gonna go on out the door now.
I've finished working out. Fuck it, whatever.
Yeah. No, I mean that's what I'm saying. I am.
Oh my god. But it beats we always joke around about how the gym is, and I was like the other day, Tina jinxed it for me because I was like, there's no naked old guys walking around the gym, walking around the locker room. No, fuck. As soon as I told her that, I'm in the gym, naked old Russian guy.
Oh,
And
really?
he's just talking, and his accent's like this, and then it's like, but then he talks to his buddy. It's all in Russian,
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
just like, oh my god, and he's not putting his clothes on, and I'm just like, fuck. I'm like getting dressed, and like hurrying up, like get dressed, get dressed. Then I walk in there today, and there's just this dude Winnie the Pooh in it, and I'm walking shirt, no pants, and I'm like,
Oh my god.
that's like yeah. I take off my shirt, I throw a shirt on, but then I take my pants and I throw my pants immediately on. I don't walk around.
Yeah.
I don't want nobody. You know,
I don't even go when I go to the gym. I usually have my work clothes on. The only thing I'll change is my shoes.
now,
You
see,
know.
I got to change all my clothes because sometimes I go directly from the gym to work to the shop.
Oh well, see, I'm the opposite because I'll go from work to the gym and then I go home because there's nothing else open at 1 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Yeah, see,
ooh,
I used to do that. I used to love going to the gym. I'd either go from 11 to 1 or 1 to 3, and there was nobody there.
yeah,
And one day I'm sitting there working out, and I'm like, I look around, I don't see anybody. I don't even see the people that work there. I'm like,
really.
did they fucking did, what
You got
happened?
locked in.
And yeah, I did. And all of a sudden I see the girl stand up and she was cleaning and she went
Uh,
behind the wall to like pick some trash up. And I just happened to look up at the moment she was behind the wall.
wow, you probably did freak out a little bit.
Yeah, because I'm like, well, I went one night. I got like the 7 day membership. Maybe I went a couple nights, but to the Anytime Fitness here in Piqua, the one that's
Yeah,
open 24 hours where you have the little fob thing and you just go in and there's nobody that working there, you know. And I'm sitting there working out, and I had went into the locker room, changed, and come out, and I'm like, I think I was on the exercise bike or something, and I'm pedaling, pedaling, pedaling. And all of a sudden, I look over, there's some dude there, and I'm like, I didn't see him come in the door. He wasn't in the locker room. Where the fuck did this dude come from? And so, I got my earbuds in, and I'm working out, and I'm looking up, and every time I'd look up, man, he'd be like, and I'm like,
just looking
oh,
straight at you.
let's just fucking burning a hole through me, and I'm like, I don't like that.
I know the feeling. Well, no, because I go to Planet Fitness.
That's where I go.
There's always people in there.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I'll walk in, and actually, I know one of the workers.
Mm-hmm.
He used to work at a sister company to where I work at during the day shift, and well, second shift. But yeah, I've met him before. I was like, and so now whenever I see him, he's like, hey, blah blah blah. I'll
Yep.
do whatever. And but yeah, I go there. Like I said, it's one. It makes me feel better.
Yep.
I'll get on the bike, and then I try to go 4 days a week. You
Yep.
know, but
It
now I'm
does.
getting to the point where, all right, I'm going to start doing this, 4 times a week, and then making a habit of doing that, and then getting up to the studio when I get home, and then I can draw for like an hour, whatever, and then I can eat, then I'll go to sleep, and then rinse and repeat. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I get up if I didn't have Vince at home, I would probably try to hit at least 4 days a week. But I get up, I get ready, I get Vince up and ready. I make sure he's got breakfast and he's up and ready to go. And then I go to the gym, get my workout in. I'm there for about an hour 45 thereabout. And then I usually get Vince's lunch, drop it off to him, make sure he's still good. If he needs anything, let the dogs out. Then I go to work. Then I work. Then I come here. Then I start working on all my other stuff, like you do with your. I start working on my podcast. I work on my shows, and then I keep going there. And then I try to read, and then I try to get caught up on TV, and then I start the next thing all over again the next day.
Well, you
Because
get your own little routine.
yep, I'm a glutton for punishment. That's what we
Yeah.
do.
But just think, the older you get, the more you'll do it because the less you sleep.
Oh man. Well, the worst part about it is I sleep more now than I did when I was younger because now I sleep regular. I go to bed
Okay.
about 2 in the morning. I get up at 9, almost like clockwork. Like boom, I get.
I don't know. I try to sleep until I have to go to work. So I'll go to bed like around 3, 4 o'clock, and then I'll just lay in bed until I have to go to work, which is usually about. Uh, I got to be at work by 1:45. So, but the bad thing is I don't get to see my wife during the week.
Yes, that was one of the things that killed me is was there for the longest time. Tina works second shift, so she would come home. I'd leave to go to work, so I worked third, and then I'd come home. She would get up about the time I got up, got home, went to bed. She'd get up, get everything ready, and then when I woke up, it's she's going to work. So we went. I'd probably see her about a half hour, 45 minutes a day for the
Yeah.
longest time, and that weighs heavy on a relationship. Not gonna
Oh,
lie,
I know.
that was
That's why,
hard.
like now on the weekend, we're always around each other, and then, you know,
Well, you guys usually when I used to see you guys were always together. Anytime you go to anything, your wife was right there with
yeah,
you. Back when before she was your wife, back in the day, and
yeah.
she was always there.
Well, I mean, before when we first got together, she really didn't have like she would read. You know what I
Mm,
mean? So, being around me, next thing I rub off on her. So now she starts watching. First thing she started watching was Dragon Ball Z. So now she we'll watch some animes together and stuff like that. But the thing is that we don't have to watch the same thing.
no,
Like
no.
she'll be watching something. I'm like, oh, what are you watching? Well, I said, all right, I'll be back. I'll watch something else. And I won't get mad. You know what I'm saying? I won't like, hey, turn the channel. I won't watch this.
Yep.
She'll offer. It's like, or a lot of times I'll be sitting there and I'm eating. I'm watching, some type of cartoon or animated thing or whatever, because I like watching that stuff because for me that's an art study.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
No,
I,
I get it.
you know, people love us, and now I'm looking at the animation. I'm looking at the way they draw the background. Look, there's a lot of different things, and I'll see a scene. I'm like, oh, I gotta find that shit. That's dope. I mean,
Oh yeah.
and she'll come in there and I'm like, oh, no, no, you can watch it. I was like, all right, and then if she's interested, she'll like, well, what is this? But if she's not interested, she'll be like, I'll see her head go down, and I bought her some earbuds, so she'll be on her phone.
Yep.
Or if she really wants to, she'll just go in the bedroom and start watching something else in there. But I mean, we do watch a lot of shows together and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, go ahead.
No, see that's the way it is here. We bought this house because we knew my mother-in-law was going to move in with us sooner or later. So we bought this bigger house. So my mother-in-law has the middle floor. I have the basement, and my wife has the upstairs. And then our bedroom's upstairs too, but she has her room that used to be Brandon's room, and then Joe's room is now our bedroom, and then Vince has his bed up there, but he never sleeps, so he always wants to sleep down here in my area. So I had a futon that's slowly falling apart because all of us just crash on it. So when I want to watch TV, I come down here. I stay out of her hair. She goes upstairs, watches what she wants, and then we got stuff we come together and watch. So
Yeah.
she doesn't have to watch my dumbass stuff, and I don't have to watch her watch Sister Wives for fucking 8 hours. But then I sit there and I go upstairs to hang out with her, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, this is a train wreck. This is why would they do this? And then she's like, you've been sitting here for like 2 hours. I'm like, God damn it.
See, my wife likes that 90 Day Fiance.
Yeah.
And I'll sit up there and I'm like, and I can usually watch it for like 10, 15 minutes. I'm like, for real? Now I'll get up. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
But
it's
there's stuff
sometimes you
that we
just
do watch together, like Oak Island. And I heard they found the treasure on that too, actually. I seen somewhere where they found the treasure. It
they
was like,
found it finally.
yeah, but it's not, they haven't showed it on TV. I seen it on some type of social media thing. So I don't know how true it is.
See,
But
I grew up absolutely fascinated because of In Search of. Remember that with Leonard Nimoy?
yeah.
When they start talking about the money pit in Oak Island, I was fascinated. And now that they do all that, all the mystery's gone. So now I'm just like, nah, I can't get into
Actually,
it
it's
now.
pretty good because it's not about the treasure anymore. It's about who was actually on the island because they're finding stuff from like Roman times there, and all kind of weird. They're like, oh, this. For me, it's common sense. I'm like, okay, so you had pirates that used that place basically as a post.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they had stuff guarded up so this way, in case someone came, you can shoot your cannons, whatever. They had treasure there, right? Well, treasure usually entails something that's old.
Mm-hmm.
So of course they're going to have different types of money
Yep.
and whatever else there, and then you know I'm sure a lot of these pirates got stuff that someone else had handed down to them and they stole it from
Mm-hmm.
them.
Yep.
So yeah, you're going to find all kind of mishmash of stuff. But more than anything, they're all about the Templars there now.
Yeah. Well,
So,
that's like, what was it? A couple years back when they found that they believe the Templars made it as far as Minnesota. Yeah.
well, yeah, they history is askew. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, the bad thing about history is that it's whatever you write it.
Mhm. Hey,
So it can be
history goes
changed.
to the victors. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So, but all right, I'm getting off topic
Yeah,
here.
we're getting way off. Okay, so we're going to go back to the topic here. Okay, so what artist got you into comics, and why was it Jack Kirby? No.
Actually, no. People are going to hate me for this, but I was never really a fan of Jack Kirby.
See, I agree.
I like his stuff though,
Yeah,
and I respect it because I did a cover for a friend of mine named Scott Angle. It was
mm-hmm.
a Amazing Spider-Man #1 where he was a Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
Yeah, I redid that cover and it turned out fantastic. But I don't do covers for everybody.
yeah,
But going back and doing that, I was like, he's actually really, really good. You know what I'm saying? I give the man respect. You know what I'm saying? Because I grew up in like with Neil Adams and all them. You know what I'm saying? Like
mm-hmm.
people who influenced me most. First of all, to answer your question, was my brother. You know,
Okay,
he was an artist. So monkey see, monkey do, as they say.
yeah,
So me and him would just sit there and draw. Of course, he's way, way better than me and stuff like that. But you know, he used to tell me it was a show that used to come on called Commander Mark, and he was like an artist on one of the PBS channels. I forget what it was called, but the guy's name was Commander Mark. You should check it out one of these days. Teach you about perspective and everything else, you know. But anyways, me and my brother used to watch that, and so he would always at the end of the show, the guy would say, "Draw, draw, draw," you know. And so me and my brother used to say that to each other all the time. We came up with our own universe, you know, our own characters. You know, occasionally he'd throw like DC, their most powerful characters with his most powerful characters, you know. Of course, you know, me being me as a little kid, I want to draw powerful characters, you know. But we would sit up there and draw, and then we actually got to the point where he started liking some of the stuff I was doing. And so he would go in there and occasionally draw like a chapter for me in my own book, you know what I mean? But he was my main influence. And then of course, you know, if I had to say name my top 5 artists that I follow in no particular order, yeah, I don't want to insult anybody. I managed to meet one of them, so I'm cool with that. But Frank Frazetta, yeah, everybody likes Frank.
yep.
Angel Medina.
Oh, Angel's a great guy.
Oh yeah, like I said, he's one of the ones I met.
Met him at Gem City, hung out with him because we were set up across from him for the entire show for the weekend, and all we did was bullshit. And so I started getting him to sign just the most random shit that he had done, like
Oh
Dragstar. And he's like, "Where the fuck did you find this?" I'm like, "I was in the boxes." Fucking quarter box shit. And he still occasionally, I'll post something and he'll occasionally pop up and give me some smart ass remark on it and disappear again for like a year. But he still fucking gives me shit to this day from it. So,
Oh, I know. I pissed him off when I was last show. Was it last Gym City or the one before he was at? I can't remember. But I didn't even know he was there. That's what
mm-hmm.
pissed me off. I saw him on the second day, and my wife was like, "Hey, you know, Angel." I said, "Angel Medina's here." She said, "Yeah." I said, "Bullshit." Now I walked over and I said, "Son of a bitch, there he is." So I ended up buying this Spider-Man print from him where he's going against the Sinister Six.
Yeah.
It's like a 2-page spread. Dude, that shit is so sick. I mean, I'm just looking at it and I look at his work and all. So, me as an artist, my goal is to be able to take, like, he's done some, I got some of his stuff that he never put out.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget what it is, man, but it's this dude with the chainsaw. Dude, it's sick as fuck. But, anyways, I told myself, I said, when I know when I'm good is when I'll be able to sit down and ink that and it look just as good as how he has it. You know what I'm saying? Not go in and tear it up and actually make it better. So that's one of my goals is to be able to ink one of his pictures.
Yeah.
But that I also learned that way too. But I haven't got the balls to try it yet. I don't want to. No, I mean, don't get me wrong. I won't ink over top of its stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I'll make me a print and then
Yep.
Blue Line,
Yep.
whatever it is. But he's one of my top artists. I like Tim Vigil,
Oh,
Faust.
Tim's great.
Yeah. I haven't really met the guy. I've heard some weird stories, but
He's I've met Tim, oh God, dozen times over the years, and never been nothing but nice to me. But you get stories and
yeah.
stuff like that. But me and him always been cool. I
I
mean,
tell you what's cool though is I got a picture, a sketch that he did that someone put in the Gem City auction, and someone was Jesse Noble was telling me, he's like,
yep.
I see you ink that. I said, all right, I'll ink it one of these days. So I turned around and I actually inked. I got prints of it that I inked, and I made sure Vigil's name's on there. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Mm-hmm.
not stealing his shit. It's just how
Yep.
it is. They like that. All I did was just ink a picture of his. I posted on Facebook, and he actually commented on it, which surprised me because I've done pictures before, and I've heard people get mad at me like, "Oh, you're trying to sell us to dude." I'm not trying. I tagged you. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
don't need to steal your guys' art.
Nope. Nope.
I don't do that. But he was like, "Well, I'm sorry I got lightning shooting out his ass." It was just a picture, what I'm saying? Because I put side by side the finished and then the inked. And then someone wanted to buy the ink picture off me. So I was like, okay, that's fine because I inked it. I can get, but I still have the original pencil.
Yeah.
And they know that it's not my character. I didn't try to make money off of it or anything like that. But, you know,
Oh yeah.
so Tim Vigil, Angel Medina,
Right for Zeta.
yeah, Frank Frazetta, and then there's several artists I like, but there's what the hell's his name? Neil Adams, Arthur Adams,
Art Adams.
yeah, and then what the hell's his name? Texiera,
Mark Texiera did.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I like him. And then I actually met what is his name? He did the Inhumans. And it's pissing me off because I met him. He's a really nice guy.
Jay Lee.
Yeah, yeah, I like Jay Lee stuff. Kyle Hooks is good too. He's a local artist too.
Yeah, Kyle's great. I've
Yeah,
known
yeah.
I've known Kyle since back in the day when he used to do the Jubilee shows, and he'd be
Oh
set up
yeah,
next to us, and he'd be working for fucking North Star Comics and shit back in the day.
yeah, because yeah, he's because he was he's real good, and then all of a sudden he did something changed in his art here within the last 6 years or so, where I could just see something different. He changed his style. He did something to his style, and I was like, oh shh. I was like, yeah, I was like, man, that's good. I mean, it's not very often that I'll go up and say, dude, your shit is completely awesome. You know what I'm saying? But you put out some stuff out there. I was like, ooh, this is really really good.
Well,
So
I know he started working with Kelly Jones at one point, so I don't know if that
what?
makes a difference. Yeah, Kelly Jones did Batman, Red Rain, did a bunch of. He's really notorious for having the Batman with a ginormous. He also did a lot of horror books.
Okay.
So they started working together. So,
but that being said, before I met Bill and all them, before I got the studio together, there was a local artist that was up at what the hell's that place in Fairborn?
Bookery.
Yeah, and so people's like, "Hey man, take your art up there." Blah blah blah. So all right, so I took some stuff up there, and I'm waiting in line to talk to this guy. I said, "Well, I just brought some stuff to see what you think about it." And he's looking at it, and he didn't really say anything. He just kind of looked at it. He's like, "Yeah." I said, "So what do you think?" It's well, you're not gonna like what I said. I said, okay, just go ahead and tell me. He's like, "Well, you should probably quit drawing." I was like, "What?" The wife really got pissed. She got. I was hot too.
Yeah.
I forget the guy's name, man, and she was saying, and I know he heard her say it too. She's like, that piece of shit that he's drawing, you can do 10 times better than that. I was like, calm down. She got more offended than I did. I got irritated. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should never tell anybody quit drawing.
No.
But anyways, and then shortly after that, I entered a contest because someone came up to me. He's like, "Hey man, there's a contest to meet Stan Lee." I was like, "Oh really?" She's like, "Yeah." I I said, well, when to do? He said, tomorrow. I was like, what? So I was supposed to work, and I was like, screw this. I'm doing this picture. So I did this cover. I sent it in, and I ended up being one of the winners. So that, to me, was validation, that no, I'm not going to quit drawing. And then, so when I met Stan Lee, he was like, I got to do the Stan Lee voice. Oh, so you're the one that drew Star Boy. He just had his accent going and all this and that. It's like, this is really good. He's like, I'm pretty sure I'll be seeing your stuff in the future. I was like, validation, And then after that, I didn't worry about what anybody else ever had to say to me. You know what I'm saying? If I got the man that helped started Marvel Comics saying, hey, you're good, I expect to see more from
you. Yeah. I get, because I've been with people who've taken their artwork to, big name artists and stuff like that, and they're brutal. They're brutally honest. I've never had one look at you and go, "You need to stop fucking drawing." No, they'll just be like, "Dude, you're." I've seen them say, "You're years away from being professional."
Yeah.
I've seen them say, "Don't quit your day job," but they've never said, "Don't quit." And I think that's kind of bad, but I mean,
all it was,
yeah,
because it's like, well, there's no background. I said, dude, I got panel work, and he's like,
yeah,
well, I don't have time to look at it. I was like, all right, whatever. After he said that, I was like, okay. I somewhere along the line, I struck a nerve with this guy. And so to me, that made me kind of feel good. I was pissed, but I got under this guy's skin for some reason, and I don't know what it was. I didn't do anything.
nope.
Excuse me, and I didn't say anything, mean against him. Even after that, I didn't say anything really mean about it. I was just like, yes, this stuff is good, but he ain't great. You know what I'm saying? He's an artist.
Okay.
But when I'm at the shows and I have a kid come up to me and like, blah, 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 blah. First thing I'll ask him, you got any artwork? He's like, blah, blah, blah. I said, you got a phone, don't you? He said, yeah. I said, take pictures. Always have pictures on your phone. So this way you can show somebody something.
Yeah.
And I've had people that are bad, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, here we go again, But I try to be as nice and still critical about it. Like, if someone can't really draw that well, I'm like, okay, well, you might need to go out and get you an anatomy book. You can go, go to your art studio, art stores, or whatever. Go get you an anatomy book. My art teacher got me one. Oh, there you go. Yeah, see, that's John Byrne, ain't it?
No, John Buscema.
Oh, John Buscema. Okay,
yeah.
Okay, so I knew it was one of them. I knew it was a John, but the book that my art teacher got me was a Michelangelo book.
Oh yeah,
and it pulled out like human anatomy. Period. So it taught me all kind of different stuff. Okay. So I did that, but that's what I'll tell people, And then if there's a friend of mine, his name's Stacy. He's part of the studio, and I'll tell him the same thing. He comes to me and asks me stuff. Now Stacy's good. I don't know if you've seen his work or not. He's the one that does Saigon and some of the other stories. Actually, he's doing the Razor Doll story that's in Tales from the Field, and he's actually got like 2 books of it done, 48 pages. The dude's a fucking beast, man. He's got a series that he's been sitting on called shit. It's pissing me off. I can't remember the name of it. It'll come to me here in a minute. But not Saigon. What is it? Saigon is the one that's actually out. But there's another series that this is all part of the same world. He's got 3 volumes of it, and they're like 92 pages each that he's just sitting on. So part of it's me. And I told him, I'm like, we got to get these out, dude. So, and I'm like, what we're going to do is we're going to break it up. I said, so this way, you can, if you want to do it, every so many months, have one come out, or, I said, you've got enough for a year, pretty much, to come out every single month if you want to break it down into 24 pages. And on top of that, he's wanting to go back and redo some of it. And then on top of that, he also, we're doing a story for Richard Catterjohn.
Yeah.
It's called Escape. And actually, I can get it. Jay Fife did this cover right here. These are characters from that story. So Stacy did the pencils and I did the inks, and which is totally different because I got my style of art. Stacy has his, and then so when I go into his stuff, all the stuff that I'm trying to tell him, I'm like, okay, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. I apply it, and then he can see what I'm talking about. I'm like, last discussion we had was, okay, he did this cover here. And I was like, hey, dude, we got to work on, some highlights. He's like, what do you mean? Because you can't really see anything there, right? This is kind of all black, but there's something there. And I'm like, so you can, because he'll do that. He'll put so much detail in, and then he'll black it out. I'm like, dude, I said, you got all that detail in there. I said, you're losing it all. I said, why put? He said, well, I know it's there. I said, yeah, but don't you want everybody else to know it's there? So then he's finally, we're talking, we understand, and that's the big part of having a studio is when we all get together, we learn from each other. We can help each other out, and so that's our biggest thing is that me and Stacy, he comes over more than anybody. And the man's a machine. He'll just go up there, sit at this table back here, draw for like 2 hours straight. And I'm over here and I'm on the computer and I'm jumping over there and trying to sketch and do, I'm trying to do all this stuff while everybody's here. But the thing is now is that I've got enough stuff, but I've got so much shit up here. Literally I was showing you, look, I'll just reach over here and grab this random thing. It's just sitting over here. I got stuff like this all over the place. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So,
believe me, I know.
Literally, I got this sitting back here.
Yeah, you got the disc from
all over the place. I'm sure you do too. Yeah. All right, I got you. I got you right there. I got you. Now you'll make me get up and go get it.
Yep, I got one of them over there.
This is literally number 1 out of 99.
Damn.
And I was going to have Stan Lee sign it. I forgot it.
I have, yeah. I posted the other day when we did an interview with a band, and they're sitting there going, oh, man, what's all that stuff behind you? It's like, oh, do you got a comic book store? Is that where you're filming? I'm like, no, this is my basement. And then I pulled the camera, and I circled around and just showed them everything. And you just hear, oh, shit. We come hang out at your house. I mean, literally, this is bad. Is sitting right here, like on the other side of my monitor.
Oh, yeah.
But I got it throwing up horns here. I have my Shogun Warriors behind my monitor. Yeah, it's bad. This way my wife don't have to deal with any of this shit.
Let's see, like this. This is sitting on top of my computer right now.
Gundam.
And then I've got Cloud, and then I got Lightning sitting up there too. Yeah. And then I've got. You look back here, you can probably see it. Let me see my hand right. I see it. I've got like Mumra.
Oh yeah.
All along the shelf, I got gargoyles. I mean, people like. I got the pit sitting over there. I've got Galactus swords. I got shit all over the place.
Hold on. Here we go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I remember seeing all those helmets.
Yeah, I got all that.
Your Mandalorian.
Yeah. And
you probably got your at.
Yeah, I got ats. Yes, my Christmases have been, and I told Tina I'm still looking for 2, and she's like, "You got at for Christmas. You need to pick something else." So I was like, "Okay, I want Rom the Space Knight. I ain't got one of them. Give me one."
I got him.
You got him?
My cut. Well, hopefully, I don't know. When my mom was moving, in my old room, I had the 18-inch Alien.
Mm-hmm.
When we open up, the teeth come out, the skull blows.
Yep.
I had the 16-inch Boba Fett. Still had the Wookiee stuff on them. I had the Enterprise from the 70s.
Yeah.
I had Maximilian. Mm-hmm. And I had Vincent. And then I had Robotech ship in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm trying to remember because this was back in the day and no one was displaying this stuff. I was the only person I knew that had this stuff on display like that.
Yeah.
And then there's like a deck with Star Trek. Then I had a bunch of GI. I mean, I had a shit ton of GI Joe stuff. But people used to come to my room when I was younger, like back in my teens, and we'd all go in there and smoke weed. But I had it set up like an apartment. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I had a chair, table, my bed. I had a little TV. It was nice. You know what I'm saying? I was just chilling at my mom's house. But we would all go up there, and I didn't even have an art table. So what I would do is I had a piece of wood that I would sit down on my chair, and I would use that to draw.
Yeah.
And then I had a mirror right across from me, so whenever I needed to do a gesture, I could see it.
Hell yeah.
So I had my setup there. You know what I'm saying? So when people come up, they're looking at this like, oh shit. Well, anyways, all that got taken by my cousin because I hadn't cleaned that room out yet. And so he asked my mom, he's like, hey, you care if I take you? I don't care. So he took it all. And I was like, hey, that's mine. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my shit.
Yeah.
Taking my stuff. He said, well, Aunt Judy. I said, no, that wasn't hers to give away. I said, I was coming back to get it. So needless to say, I don't know what happened to it afterwards. He's always like, well, if you come get it, he said, you can come get it. I said, dude, it's cool. Because he had a basement set up and everything else. Mm-hmm. But there was some drama that happened, and I don't know what happened to that stuff. And so I'm a little bit lightweight PO'd about it because I'm like, do you know how much that alien's worth? Do you know how much that Boba Fett's worth? You know how much that ROM's worth, know? And the ROM still worked. You just put I think it was the 9-volt battery.
Yep.
And it had the regulator and
yeah, you had the translator, the analyzer, and there's 3 because you had the big thing and then the 2 guns.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't remember what the 3rd gun was called or the 2nd gun was called. It was
I don't know. It's dire race or whatever those things were called. Use that to kill them.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then actually, since my brother passed, I got a bunch of the stuff that he still had. And in this box, I'm opening it up and I'm finding like, oh man, that's where I found that G.I. Joe guy. I didn't realize he had my bag. And it had all my G.I. Joes in it. So I'm going in there, I'm like, and they're starting to, how the rubber bands are.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm like, son of a bitch.
I just had to replace a shitload. I bought a collection. Fucking Christmas Eve day.
Yeah.
I bought.
And I got a jar with all their weapons in it still.
Yep. And
so I still got all the GI Joe. Of course, first thing that breaks is their thumbs. So there's a bunch of them with broken thumbs.
Crotch pieces. Crotch pieces are the ones that break a lot of too.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, I even had the one that you sent out for. I had the special force thing.
Yeah.
And my guy was called Cold Steel.
Cold Steel.
And then what was cool was my brother drew a picture and he put me in it as Cold Steel, and he had himself in there, and then he had the dudes from Contra. Yeah, it was like, I forget what the name of the team was, but it was pretty cool. I was like,
sweet.
Yeah.
I remember the one year for Christmas. It was when GI Joes weren't. You could buy GI Joes for like nothing. Yeah, and I had a bunch of parts. Yeah, I had a box full of parts, and so I took all the parts and I customized and made action figures of all my friends.
Nice.
And I gave them to them all for Christmas. I don't know what happened to any of them, but yeah, I don't even know what happened to mine. I think mine got sold when I was broke one time when I sold off some G.I. Joe shit. It was probably in there because I made a custom me figure. It was
actually Kevin made me a figure of one of my characters from he did it in a Hero Click.
Oh, sweet.
And I got 2 versions. I got the rookie version, and then I got like the all powerful.
The veteran.
Yeah. And the veteran is stupid, man. He's stupid strong. He's like, man, you can't use him. Because I would get on my last click and he wouldn't die. He was just too strong. But yeah, I ended up painting this dude. I don't know if you can see it or not, how good that is. But
yeah. Damn.
But I think it was Luke Cage. And so he did some stuff and painted it. Well, I painted it, but he put like the hoodie on him and the backwards hat because I normally have that stuff on there. And then, but yeah, that's what I say. We were actually doing that with all our characters. We were doing a Twilight Star characters as hero clicks. So this way, you can actually play with them.
Yeah.
So he did. I think he did the Crook, which is one of his. My brother's was Legacy, and mine was from G Code is G Man,
Mm-hmm.
which was me.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, but anyways, I'm looking through there. He's got, and of course, he always kept his stuff pristine. He's got like He Man, the original He Man. He's got a Prince Adams old style, but he painted him. He painted him to look like one of his characters. So then it's not a bad job, you know what I'm saying? But, for the purists that wanted, like, I'm like, well, for one, that ain't for sale.
Yep.
But, like Zodak, he's got his stuff. Battle Cat, still got the helmet, still got the little tab with it. He's got all the original stuff. He's got some Cobra stuff. He's got his tank. What's that moccasin or something like water
moccasin, the boat.
Yeah. And then he's got the one like the turret that can be pulled.
Yeah, the Cobra one, the asp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, and then what else was on there? Some type of tank, walking tank thing. It's like an armor, like an exo armor. It's all white.
I know what it's the shell you put them on.
Yeah, I got that. And then he had Zartan and that little jet ski thing he had. And then a couple of Transformers. Boss Man was still in the package.
The flocks still smell like pine.
Yeah, it probably still did. I don't know if it still does now, but over time, I'm sure the smell went. But
yeah.
So and plus all that, I got all those old comic books too. So I haven't even gone through those.
Well, it's bad. Is that I always post this one thing. It says, "This is my last will and testament." Blah 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 blah, and I have some mind of body. It goes on the whole thing, and it goes, "Don't look for your money. Your money is in the toy and comic collection in the basement." And I was like, "That's pretty much it, man." Because I tell Tina, I was like, if anything happens, let the kids take what they want, sell off the rest, pay off the house. And I was like, there's 3 books I told her she can't. There's 3 things I asked her not to sell. Technically, like, give the AT-ATs to my kids, give the Shogun Warriors to the kids, and those 3 comic books on that shelf over there stay, because that's my Giant Size X-Men 1, my Hulk 181, and my Amazing 121. And I was like, don't sell those. I was like, I have a feeling that Giant Size X-Men, maybe not my lifetime, but maybe my kid, maybe Vince's lifetime. He's 13. That'll be $1 million book.
I think so.
And she goes, well, how much is it now? And I was like, well, those 3 books on that shelf are $20,000. And she's just like, oh, so those are the ones I sell first, right? I was like, no, that's for them. And then my kids get these because I just busted these out the other day to show on my show. And I've got these, right? And everybody's got these, but they don't have this. Or especially that one right there in the middle. Steranko.
Oh.
Yes. And
I got a poster of his not long ago.
He's such a cool dude, man. I met him at Cincinnati Comic Expo, I think like a decade ago.
I know he goes to Youngstown.
Yeah. I think Youngstown's not far for him. I think he lives like in like Buffalo or something like that. But yeah. But he did that one, and it was funny because Steve McNiven was signing at Cincinnati one year, and I was getting him to sign, and he was signing whatever you wanted for free as long as you put 2 whatever.
Yeah.
So I had some books. I got like Civil War signed to Paul and stuff, and he signed my Marvel Encyclopedia, and he didn't sign 2. He just signed Steve McNiven. And I went to hand him his $5, and he goes, no. He goes, I know you're not going to sell that. He goes, because it's signed by Jim Steranko. And you'd be an idiot to sign to sell that. And I was like,
He don't sign very much, does
no.
he?
He signed one thing. He asked for no pictures because he's like, this. I was like, all right, no, fucking a. And then he was like, okay, take a picture. So there's a picture of me and Jim Steranko somewhere. But those two books, I got the Marvel and a DC one. DC's not signed by quite as many, but it's that way. But I do have like Harris and then Robinson put a little Batman little side sketch there, and those will just
You
those
got
will go to my
Ross's signature in there.
huh
You got Ross in there.
Ross. No,
Alex Ross.
no, I don't. I only have
Ever did the cover?
yeah. I have no. I've only met him once, and it was long before I ever got that.
Oh,
So I have one book signed by Ross that I no two because I got one signed then, and then I ended up winning a Atomica #1 signed by Alex Ross, and all he did was the cover. So it's Alex Ross. Yeah,
actually, I had one that had Mark Wade and Alex Ross, Kingdom Come.
Kingdom Come. Yeah, I think that's what I got signed. Is Kingdom Come #1, I believe.
Yeah, and I don't know where it's at. I don't know where it's at. I don't know. That's like another influential artist of mine. What's his name? I say it, and I thought about it too fast.
What's he work on?
Lobo. Simon Bisley.
So Beasley, yeah, Beasley, Simon Beasley. Oh God, I love him.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I actually, because I had like the Lobo versus Santa Claus,
Yeah,
and all the other, and I had like the first two series of Lobo that he did, and then I don't know where they're at either. They're probably with the same thing, man. So I was showing people, you know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, here, check these out. Because I happened to cross that Lobo versus Santa Claus at the Springfield Mall, and this guy had it like in a middle thing where he was just like a flea market type deal.
mm-hmm.
And so I happened to be walking by, and I was like, the wife was with me. Well, she wasn't wife at the time. I just happened to go by, and I was like, she's like, oh, they got comic books over there. I was like, yeah. I said, I really don't buy comic books. So she went to do something. I was like, oh, screw it. I'll just walk over here. And I'm thumbing through, and I'm like, oh. I said, hey, man, how much you want for this book? He's like, I don't know. What is it? I was like, this. He's like, give me $10. I said, I'll give you 5. He's all right, here. Walked away. I was like, oh my God. I can't believe I walked away with that. I said, she looked at me. I said, I'm guaranteeing you this is at least 20, if not more, for this book right here because it's rare. This is the book that got him banned from drawing Lobo, for a long time. Because I kept hearing about it, but I never saw it. And I finally see it. I was like, oh, yeah.
Yep, the Lobo Paramilitary Christmas Special.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a fantastic book.
Did you ever see that? Did you ever see the movie?
No, I didn't even know there was a
Yeah, it's a film. It's on YouTube because it's a student film. They got Andrew Bernarski, the guy who was Leatherface in the reboot of Texas Chainsaw Massacre in 2000s. He also plays Christopher Walken's son in Batman Returns. He's Lobo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's great. It's a little short. I think it's only maybe 30 minutes.
Oh no, I'm gonna have to go watch it.
Yeah, you can YouTube it. It's on there. At least it used to be. I've watched it. I don't know how many times.
I always thought that Jason Momoa was Lobo.
Well, supposedly he might be Lobo.
So yeah, well, he's still doing Aquaman. So
Aquaman, he's done.
Oh, really?
He said after that he is done with Aquaman because his contract is up, and they don't want him back as Aquaman. So I guess he's in negotiations with Gunn to be Lobo. So.
I mean, he is Lobo.
Yeah. I think Lobo and Sabretooth are the two people I thought he should have been, and he wasn't either one. He was freaking Aquaman of all people.
But Lobo, yeah. I don't know about Sabretooth.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know a whole lot about Sabretooth.
Yeah. Not right now, but Sabretooth a couple years back when he had the longer hair and stuff, I think he would have.
Oh, yeah.
Now he's back to having the kind of
now he's back to the Jim Lee look.
Yeah. So actually, it's
I forgot about Jim Lee. I like Jim Lee stuff too. Mark Texiera, uh, whilst for
Will
I don't.
Sportatio.
Yeah, everybody says it differently, and I didn't want to insult the man.
I I asked him years ago. Same
Yeah.
with Sinkevich,
Ah.
because he's like it's like Sink Kev, like Kevin
Yeah.
Vitch, and I was like, so Sinkevich, and I'm like, okay, because I was at Sinkowitz is what I was, and he's like, no. I had to ask him. He told me how to pronounce his name.
Yeah, because I will do that. I will. I don't want to insult you. How do you say your name?
Yeah,
I say that
literally,
all the time.
that's what I do on my show. If I think I'm gonna fuck something up, which I always do, and the worst part about it is that we just did a band with a band called Quat. There, it's Spanish for serpent, and the only reason I knew it was serpent was because Quetzalcoatl is wings is feathered serpent,
Yeah.
and I was like, I knew that, and I was like, but I'm sitting there, I keep saying Quaddle. And they're like, no, it's Quat. And I'm like, fuck. I kept fucking it up the entire episode. And it's because my brain is like, okay, that's the way you say it. That's the way I've said it for years.
Yeah.
And
it's hard to change something that
it's
quick.
hard. It's so hard.
Yeah.
Like I have a couple friends that come into shop, and I know their last names are, but I pronounced them bad the first time, and it's just stuck. So, and it's like I'm sorry. So that's their nickname now, is just an exaggeration of their real last name.
Because when I meet people, I'm like, okay, and they'll say their name. I'm like, you say that? I'm horrible with names. All right. So anybody who happens to go to a show and you walk up and like, hey, Gary, and I just kind of look at you, I'll recognize you, but I don't know your names because what I've done my whole life is I give people nicknames, and that's how I know them. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, okay. Like my wife's real name is Cheryl. Her nickname is Bulma. My brother gave her that, but it stuck. You know what I mean? So that's a lot easier to remember than Cheryl. But when he comes up to weird names, yeah, I'll remember that. But what's your name again? John. Okay, I'll remember that. I know a bunch of Johns. But I see you again. I'm like, what's your name again? Like my whole intention, and I've been thinking this all week, and I freaking forgot it, was nice to meet you again, Mr. Lee. I always wanted to say that. Mr. Lee, why aren't you in uniform?
Well, oh my God. Well, there for the longest time, when me and Latimer used to roll around everywhere, we were Legolas and Gimli. And he's tall, see that. And I'm short and got the beard and shit. And so it stuck there for the longest time. That was our nicknames. And then Tina had to Photoshop a picture the other way around. So I was Legolas, because they said Legolas and Gimli over there.
Yeah.
So she did me. So I was tall with the pointed ears, no beard. And then
have you seen him lately?
Nope.
Okay. I saw him at Gym City. He was doing well, you know what I mean? But he came across, he helped me out a lot, man. I was in a bad spot. And they came over, he talked to me for a while. And I think I went to the drinking draw, which I haven't done in years. And they came and sat with me. Mm-hmm. And, he was cool. Like I said, he was part of the studio too.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Let me get back to the studio because we got off track again.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that I like about doing this is, for one, there's no real deadlines. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just what I want out. If I really want something, I'll push it to get out. But on top of that, we've had, at one point in time, I want to say we probably had close to about 50 members to the studio. There was a lot.
Yeah, I remember you guys had a bunch at one point.
Yeah, because they always come to my house. We'd have meetings on Sundays. Every Sunday, and literally it was almost like a round table, but my table was a rectangle. So we'd have to get the leaf out just to seat everybody there. And then on top of that, we'd have people sitting off to the side. And then we had people in other countries that were doing stuff for us too. So, and my thing is that, some people were trying to push it further. I'm like, if you want to push it that further, I'm cool with that. But then you need to take care of X and you need to take care of Y. And so to do Z, I can't do everything. I just, I'll help out where I can. But when I know when we were pushing for a book to get done, and everybody was like kind of like throwing their hands up, I stepped up and was like, okay, this is what we're doing, you know, and that's just my personality is, you know, I'll go with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been a background character, but I'm the one that would, when the troops morale get down, I'm like, okay, this is what we got to do, and I would find a way to get things done. And a few people recognize that. It's like, man, why don't you do that more often? I said, because I'm not trying to step on your guys' toes. You know, these characters are your characters. They're not mine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that I've always said in the books, and I put it in there. All characters belong to the people who created them.
Yeah.
So Twilight Star is a brand as far as the independents go, because we were doing stuff that people never done before at that time. When we first got together, it was a big thing for a person to put out one book a year.
Mm-hmm.
For an independent artist. We stepped on the scene. We were putting out 3 or 4 books a year, and people's like, "Oh, it's garbage." I'm like, "Did you look at it? Because if I'm going to be honest, I'll compare my book to yours any day of the week." Well, I said, it doesn't matter. I got different artists. There's different stories.
Mm-hmm.
This is a format for these guys to have a voice.
Yeah.
So this way, so what if they only do one story with us? Now they got a book that they can present and say, hey, my stuff's been published. This is what it looks like.
Yeah.
It gives them something. And some people took it and ran, and I'm fine with that. You know what I'm saying? But the only thing I reserve the right to is to republish the story. It's in my book. You know what I'm saying? Your name's still on it. I'm not trying to say that your character's mine, but the story's part of the book. So I'm going to keep putting that out. And if it's a popular book and you become famous, then I got one of the first books that you did. You know what I'm saying? So I don't keep the art. The art's yours, unless you want to give it to me. But all I got is the original books that the introduction of the character. So that was my way of helping people out. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to take anything from you. The goal is that if you want to produce art and stories and all that, you contribute to us buying the books. Help pay for the cost of the books. So if we get 200 books, it'll be like, I don't know, $400 or whatever, something like that. Put money into it. However many books you want, that's what you're going to get. The thing is when you sell the books, that's your money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You push your own product. I'm not going to do it for you, because you're not going to do it for me. I'm not a distributor. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you could go to one of these comic book stores or something like that, and be like, hey, which I've done in the past, I'll sell it to them at a cheap price. I'm not getting much from it. All I'm doing is getting exposure to get somebody to try to look at the books, and then hopefully word of mouth to catch on. And it did for a while. You know what I mean? We were pushing hard for the first 5 years. And then after that, it just kind of mellowed out. You know what I'm saying? We're still putting out books. Nothing's really changed. We step onto the scene and people recognize, the Net Timidar and, some of us. And just like I recognize you guys.
Mm-hmm.
There's a circle of us.
Yep.
But if I were to step out of state, I could probably start it all over again. But the thing is that I'd have so many books. We've got, I want to say, totally published books. We've got over 90 books that we've done. That's the one thing people don't realize. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, some books, I just don't have them anymore. You know what I'm saying? I sold out of them. And someone was supposed to keep all the books on file, and they deleted them because they didn't want to be part of the studio anymore. So I'm like, so that's the earlier stuff. So that's the stuff that's hard to find. Now I got the other stuff on multiple files, and then if I dig deep enough in my emails, I might be able to find some of the old stuff, because the people that we were working with, they would send me a file to read, but I never really downloaded it, so it's still on my email. But I don't know if it's still there or not. I've never really went and looked. But that's why I can't do Tails #1 anymore. Not unless I actually take one. I have an original Tails that was never stapled. I found it in the store. I was like, "What?" I said, "Hey, let me buy this." So what do you mean? He said, "Oh, dude, that's yours. You can have it." I was like, "Cool," But I gave him money for it anyway.
Yeah.
And then I turned around and kept it, so this way I could use that in the long run. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm going through some of these stores, like we were in Beaver Creek and a couple other places. We were all around this, mid Ohio area.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go in a store, and occasionally I would still see a #1 if I go in there, and I would buy it back because I know I could sell it at a better price. And so now I was completely out of #1s. And then once I got my brother's stuff, I was looking through that. And I kept asking, I was, "Hey, man, you got any more Tails 1?" He's like, "No, no, I ain't got no more. I ain't got no more." I'm looking through this jackhole shit, and he has like 10 of them. I'm like, son of a bitch, I knew he had some. I knew he had them. So now I got some more. And so I think at Gym City, I didn't do real well, but I wasn't really trying to push anything. But I had issue 1s up there, and I had several people look, and they're like, wanting to buy them, and I really didn't feel like selling them at the time.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. I could have came down on price, whatever, if I really want to push it. But now it's like, no, you really don't want to buy that. That's what I thought. So I don't have very many of those left. And then they're just like, no, no. I was like, no, I'm not going to sell that. And then they walk away. So I made a few bucks, but I was basically in the throes of depression and didn't realize it.
Yeah.
So I was
Good.
going to leave. And I was like, I had some bad thoughts going through my head when I was leaving. I was like, yeah, there's something wrong. I need to just sit down, rewind, reset, decide that this is what I really want to do. And, some of the members were kind of, hey, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, just let me do what I got to do. You probably won't hear from me for a while, but I just need to step away. And so, like I said, I think last week was the first time I picked up my pencil since July. And I did those. I guess I can show it to you. But this is like something I was working on. You probably can't see it very well because I don't have my lighting real right. But this is the last thing I was working on. Right there.
Yeah.
And then I was working on her. Basically, I was just doing a Wednesday picture.
Yeah.
And then this was the last actual comic book page that me and my brother did together. I don't know if you can see that or not either, but
Yeah.
so yeah, it's still all coming together, and then I'm still working on the story for Richard. Stacy finally gave me the pencils I've been asking for, but now I'm the one half stepping on it. That's usually how it works.
Oh yeah. Well, it's no different than me when I've got stuff I've written, stuff I've worked on, and I get I don't know, I get disenchanted with it for a while, and then I'll go back to it. And like I was supposed to work on a movie. I had a movie, I had a budget, I had everything ready to go, and I was supposed to do a short film. And
I think I remember hearing about that.
I kind of went in a bad place for a while, and I need to get my shit together. And I think I finally got to the point where I put way too much shit on my plate, and I finally kind of had a kind of a bit of a breakdown a little bit. And now I kind of was like, I know I'm not going to be a great movie director. I don't have the time.
You don't know until you try.
And if I'm going to do this, I'm going to work with some other people. We're just going to do it in our free time, and we're going to have fun doing it.
Yeah.
It immediately, when it went from point A to point B, it became a job. And when it became a job,
That's
I didn't
exactly
want to do
it.
And that's when I know the shop is when I'm having a bad day at the shop. Most of the day I'm at the shop. That's my shop. I chill. I do what I want to do. But every once in a while it becomes a job.
Yeah.
And it sucks. I don't want to be there. There's days doing my podcast, doing all this stuff like this. every once in a while, I just got to walk away from it for like a week and come back to it because it turned into a job, and I don't
Yeah.
want that. And it's the same thing with doing comics. Man, I wrote a ton of shit, and I had artists working on stuff, and I think the art is done. I own some of the original artwork on some of my books. Never been published, but it's one of the ones where I kind of walked away from it because it got aggravating and it became a job because I was doing it with little to no reward for it, and I didn't expect money because that's not a thing I worry about. Because if not, I wouldn't do fucking this podcast. I would
Yeah.
not do my shows. It's all about enjoyment and having fun.
Now, if you're still sitting on those, dude, you know what I'm saying? I'm right here.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I only got some of the artwork. I don't have the whole story.
No, you don't have to.
Yeah.
If I put it like in tails, 3 pages here, 4
Yeah.
pages there. You know what I'm saying? And then maybe once you see that, you'll be like, oh yeah, I gotta get this done. You know what I mean?
Well,
At least finish the book. You know what I'm saying?
dude, I created a universe. I
Yeah.
had a Bible I created for it. I created the first character out the door is Doc Haxon, uh, paranormal investigator guy. He's a mix of Doc Savage, Hellboy, and Doctor Strange thrown together in a pre. He starts out in the late 30s, and then it goes through the war. It goes to after the war and stuff like that, and it goes to modern day because he's cursed.
Yeah.
Literally, if you were to take off his shirt, he's covered in runes and tattoos, and he's got an eye patch because if he pulls back the eye patch, there's a fucking elder god in his head.
Oh, really?
And the only thing that keeps it contained is that the spells all over his body and that eye patch. And so when he wants to like fuck people up, he like pulls that eye patch out, and this shit comes out, grabs people, pulls it back in, and he puts the eye patch back on. But I got all of his supporting cast. I have his son who comes around in the 70s, who is he's a cryptid hunter, and he's Samson Haxon, the son of Doc Haxon, and I had that whole thing. I created the modern day, so they're modern day superheroes fighting, in the same world. The same world that still exists from the 1930s to present day. I created all these characters. I have to dig because this shit's buried in fucking like 8
Well,
movies
what I'm
ago.
saying is the stuff that you've got the art and everything
Yeah,
done for, you know,
I'll see what I can find.
because like I said, J5 gave me a story. I guess he wanted to put it in heavy metal or something like that, and they wouldn't do it because of the content.
Okay.
And I'm like, give it to me. I said, I'll put it in. So I don't care. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
It's actually a good story, but it's a religious kind of a religious thing because it's got angels and shit there. But yeah, it's a good story. The art's well done. So I'm like, give it to me. I'll put it in, Originally I was gonna put it in 9, but I'm gonna put it in 10 because 9 is a tribute issue. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in 10. And we pretty much, so like I said, I've got pretty much 2 books of Tales from the Field that I can put out this year once I get off my ass and get into gear and
Yeah. Well,
put them together.
it's so funny because we had this discussion with some artists at the shop a while back, and I told people, I was like, you got to be consistent. Don't put out a book and then keep doing shows and keep doing shows and just showing up with that same book over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Because I remember there was a guy, I guarantee you, at least 5 years of staring at the same shit on that dude's table that he never got anything new. And if he did, you wouldn't know it because it was all of his old stuff. And I walk up there because I bought some of his stuff, years ago. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, when does issue 3 come out? And he's like, I'm still working on issue 3. I'm like, you've been working on issue 3 since like 2000, like fucking 99 or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I got all, and I'm like, every book he had on his table were the same book was from the year before that. And I said, do something. even if you don't have, like, say you're doing a storyline and you kind of get where you're like, burn out on this one. I was like, go do something else, man. Maybe do
Yeah,
an anthology book so you don't get burnt out on the characters. Do three little stories and then publish that so you have something that drops that year. At least try to get a book out a year.
yeah,
And so people will come to your table and they don't just look at your stuff and go, oh, same stuff as last year and walk off.
yeah. And that's what we do. That's
Yeah.
one of our main focuses is for that. You know,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
why people get mad. You know, they're like back in the day, people was like I said would say, "Well, blah blah blah." I'm like, but the thing is you've got that same book. I seen that same book 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now you look over here. You got this book that we did 2 years ago.
Yeah.
What about these other five that are sitting here? You know what I mean? So
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, but they're all selling. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Once you see it all together,
Yep.
you know, it's like Tales from the Field. You know, that's our flagship book. There's 9 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there will be 9. Saigan. Stacy's got Saigan. He had 5 issues done. Then he went back and did 0, which was the actual start of it. So he's got 6 of those. Cyber Christ, that's the one I'm talking about.
Okay.
I knew I'd come up with it, Susan. That's his bread and butter. That's his, what's the word? Magnum
Opus?
Yeah. Because literally he's got 3 volumes done. 90 something pages each.
Jeez.
So yeah, I mean the dude's a machine. He's been doing this forever. And like I said, he'll come over and he'll draw and literally he'll do a whole page in a couple hours. You know, and he just keeps getting better. You know what I'm saying? You know, it was weird when I first met him and they like Bill Gladys, oh yeah, Stacey Gaston, you know, blah blah blah. So I'm expecting chick. You know what I'm saying? He's an older black dude, you know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, I guess guys can be named Stacy, but
Yep.
But yeah, it just kind of weirded me out. But no, I was like, once I seen it, then I see the art, I said, makes perfect sense. And
Yep.
me and him get along perfectly because he loves anime just like I do. So,
Oh yeah.
but,
It's funny because I've gone backwards on some anime. I literally bought a Laserdisc player and Laserdiscs, and I've been watching old school anime. And I found my favorite, one of my favorite animes because I had it on VHS tape back in the day. I've
I
no,
probably still do.
and I probably somewhere, but I had Bow, and I got it on Laserdisc now.
That's my favorite anime of all
I
time.
love Bow.
Nobody knew about it. Nobody
No.
knew about it.
Well, my kids found out about Bao because of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Because that's his first work, I think, is Bao. And then they put Bao into one of the JoJo games.
Oh, did they?
As soon as they did that, I was like, I got to play this. So I
shit.
Dude,
what game is that? Because I'll have to go get it.
Yeah, it's the move where he even has the one where he fucking puts the gun and puts it on his arm, and that's one of his moves. So yeah, when he does the whole,
Dark Thunder.
Yeah, and
yeah.
Oh yeah, fuck! I watch that. I don't know. I watch it about every 2 months now, and it's
if
just.
I have to watch, I have to go on YouTube and find it.
Me. It looks like the other day I just bought the Blu-ray copy of Maddox 01 Metal Skin Panic.
Oh, I remember that.
Fucking loved. I got the Dominion Tank Police.
Yeah,
I got that. I got like Armitage, all on Laserdisc, not including my own personal DVD and VHS collection.
That's like most people don't remember Guy.
Yeah.
And what was the other one? Dagger and Kamui.
That one I don't remember.
Ooh, you need it. That's like an epic movie though, but it's
okay.
Good.
It's a movie, not a series. Okay.
Yeah. And
see, then, I go through it. I have my filing cabinet in the back, and it's full of old school VHS anime. So there's literally like the old school boxes of Bubblegum Crisis and Bubblegum Crash.
Oh yeah.
There's Sorcerer Hunters. There's Slayers. There's Bastard. There's all these ones in there. And it's funny because somebody pulls it out and they're like, who signed that? I was like, that's signed by the voice actress. And they're like, that's chocolate. That's what.
That's funny.
Man. And same way, I got some Dungeons. I got some Dragon Ball Z stuff signed by
Oh, really?
the woman that was the voice of little kid Goku and shit.
Oh, the English version, right?
Yeah, the English version. I
Okay.
don't have any. I don't have any of the Japanese actors, but I
To
have
say
the.
if you could buy one that's signed by Bulma, that'd be worth money. Because she
Yeah,
passed away.
but I don't. I don't think. I know I had one year we went to Mid Ohio Con. I'm just gonna tell you how long ago this was. This is when nobody charged. If that tells you how long ago. And they had the voice of Krillin, the voice of Vegeta, and one other one, and I got a bunch of shit signed that year.
Oh, Chris Sabat?
Yeah, and then I went to a stand-up show, and Chris Sabat was doing stand-up.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
and I'm wearing my fucking button-down fucking Dragon Ball Z shirt. Didn't know because he was like the second guy. He wasn't even the guy we went there for. He was just the guy who he just the secondary stand-up because he was doing stand-up at the time. And I was like, he's like, nice shirt. You know who that is? Because that's me. And he does the voice. I'm like, are you fucking? And it's the same thing with the girl that did the voice of Gohan and Goku. And we're sitting there, and she goes, all of a sudden she does the voice, and I had it on camera on my old school video camera, and I was like, see, it's a woman.
Hey, hold on a second. I'll be right back. All
All
right.
right.
I go down here. I got to get me something to drink, and I'll be right back.
Okay. There we go. So now I don't have to trim that out when I gotta edit here.
You know, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I got thirsty.
Yeah, see, that's the
Oh, yeah.
my falling of my completely destroyed Ant-Man and the Quantum Mania cup that's completely fucked.
I got one. I can't remember the last movie we saw.
See, I stopped buying them, man, because they I don't know if they were charging me correctly for them. One of them I bought, I think it was the Indiana Jones cup, and I had to ask because they charged me like fucking like $16 for a fucking cup. And I went, that's not right, right? And he's like, well, it's what it rang up as, and I was like, that can't be right. And I looked it up later, and it was like fucking like $10 damn difference. I think it was like $8.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be.
Because the thing is that you're supposed to be able to go back and get free refills with that.
Yeah, but they don't even refill anymore.
Really?
No, they don't. Ever since the pandemic, they got rid of refills.
Because I know when we went to the movies, I can't remember what cup it was. But when we walked out, I went back up and I was like, here. And they refilled mine up and I walked on out. I went to the rave though.
Yeah. So I go to the Cinemark because it's 5 minutes away from my house.
Yeah, I was gonna say right there.
Yeah. But no, I don't know. I love being in this business. I absolutely still love comics. And like I said, when I started getting aggravated, when it became a job, it was a little fucking weird. But
And that's how it was for me because I was so busy drawing everybody else's stuff that I didn't have time for my own.
mm-hmm.
And then everybody's like, man, you need to make time. I said, dude, do you want these books out or not? And they're like, what do you mean? I said, because if I'm not doing all this other stuff, who is? And so, like I said, we had a bunch of people, and then it's just dwindled and dwindled and dwindled. And now there's like basically, well, you see, there's Tim Higgins, but he's more or less kind of doing his own thing with this Incredible Ink Studio.
Mm-hmm.
Which I see him starting to draw a hell of a lot more, so I'm down with that. But he still comes, he still comes around. If we'll go to the shows, he usually sells the stuff there with us. You got Kevin, you got Stacy, and then we got. Oh no, we actually gained another member. I think his name is Brandon. He's more of a writer. He came with Stacy, and then another guy named Kenny. He's more of the computer guy, and he's actually got some stuff on YouTube that he's animated, like CGI animation. He's got a story on there. I think it's called Sygard. So if you're out there, check that out. Go to YouTube, check out his page. It's actually pretty good. And he's done some stuff where he's like redid like some Star Trek stuff on there too and everything else. But he's actually already got a book out. He's working on another book. So then a friend of mine that I grew up with, his name is John Cunningham. He's trying to get back into it, do his art thing. Then, of course, we got Richard.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, now it's on me to finish the story. Once I finish inking it, then I'll give it to him and Frank Rayner to, do the lettering and stuff. And then hopefully that'll be another book that we'll have out this year too. So I forgot about that. So there's Escape, Tales 9 and 10. Then there's Razor Dolls, and maybe even Razor Dolls 2. I don't know. Because a lot of times what I'll do is Stacy will draw stuff, and I'll put it in Tales. So this is why I constantly got one story that's unfolding.
Yeah.
And so there's a continuity to it, along with just random stories. Because some will be like, the bad thing is, with the way we do it, and this is my fault too, is, part 1 will be in issue 3, and then you won't see part 2 until like issue 5. It'll skip like an issue and then it'll come back. So my thing is, and I tell everybody this, is that, if you do like small chapters, and then once you get 24 pages, that's a book. And, so they're like, if you take small bites, you don't notice how much work you're actually doing. It's a lot easier to sit down and do 3 pages than it is to do 24.
Yeah.
So you do 3 here, then you do 3 here, you do 3 here. There's 9 pages that you got done. So you're almost halfway through your book, and then what I'll do is I'll get it up to like, let's see, however many pages you want to do. And then like usually the last 4, I won't put out. I'll release that in the full book. So then you get the whole story together. So the thing is, oh, it's cheap. No, it's not. If you like that story, now you got it all together.
Yeah. Well, it's funny.
Also marketing too.
There you go. Well, I was going to ask you, one of my questions is what advice do you have for up and coming artists or whatever? But you've already answered like all those questions.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, fucking it worked great. Because you gave them at your pace, and you, instead of like trying to clump them all together at the end like I do, but
it's gonna be overwhelming. What I'm saying? And as an artist, it's easy. What I'm saying? My thing is that I get bored.
Mm-hmm.
I'll pick up. That's why I got multiple projects going on. Like I said, I got Saga of the Neutron Gods. That was the one me and my brother were working on. I'm going to finish that. I got my own story, which is G Code. I got another story that I'm doing with, No Escape. And on top of that, I've also got like commissions and everything else that I do for people, so I've got plenty to do, but then it gets to the point where it's overwhelming, so I think that hit me along with everything else. I was just like, I don't like this, like I need to just stop.
Yep.
And so I quit. I didn't quit, but what I'm saying? I needed a break.
Like a sabbatical, yeah.
Yeah, and then basically my leg starts twitching. My hand starts moving. I'm like, and I don't know what's wrong. I'm like, what the hell's wrong, man? Why am I so antsy? I'm like, Gary, when's the last time you drew? And my wife will even point that out to me, because when my mom passed away, I was just sitting there and I was just like, didn't know what to do. And she's like, came up to me and was like, go draw. I was like, why didn't I think that? And that's what I did. I came up here, whipped out this badass picture and shit. Well, I guess it's badass, but I don't know. But I whipped out a picture, I'm saying? Just threw, emotion and everything into it. And that was my outlet, but what hurt was my brother was my biggest rival. To me, he was. And once you lose your rival for something, it's just like, it's kind of like, you ever watch Rick and Morty?
Yeah.
Did you see the last one, the last season?
Yeah.
Where he finally found the ultimate Rick, and then afterwards he was like,
so what do I do?
Yeah, what do you do? You know what I mean? So that's pretty much where I was, because, he was my inspiration, but he was also my rival. You know what I'm saying? So he would look at
believe
my
me.
stuff and critique me. He'd be like, "Oh, well, you need to work on this, you need to work on that," and that's just he's done that his whole life. So now when I'm drawing something, I don't have that extra voice to come in and help me correct things that I'm like, man, this don't look right. I don't. I, hey, dude, what? Well, you didn't do this. What do you mean you didn't do this? Here. Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, hell, we used to actually have contests that we did. It was called "Who's the Master." You remember you ever seen The Last Dragon?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where that came from.
Sure enough. Yeah. Fuck
Yeah,
yeah.
as a kid, it was always who's the master. So we had this art contest. We did it a couple years. So the first time we did one, and I was needing help designing a character for G Code. So I was like, gave him the descriptions, and then so I went from there and I drew it, and he drew a picture. We both drew one picture. He beat me by like, let's say by like three votes, and it wasn't like it was just like 6 people. You know what I mean? There was like 20, 30 people that came to this party, and that he had it posted up there, and it says "Who's the Master Contest," and we just had those 2 pictures up there. He got mad at me. He's like, "Man, I thought you just drawing him," and I ended up drawing a scene. I drew the guy, and then I had another guy in the front. And I drew background behind. I was like, man, I got bored. You know what I'm saying? So I just did. So man, no. Like, yeah. So he beat me by like 3 or 4 votes. I can't remember. So the next year, I was like, well, you decide what we draw. So one, I won by default because he didn't even draw a picture, and 2, I beat him anyway. And what it was, so originally we just drew 1, and then I was like, I finished 1. I said, let's do another one. So let's have 2. He's like, what do you mean 2? So I did the first one of the Superman. It was all right, you know what I'm saying? But I painted it. And then I did this picture of Lobo, where it was Lobo versus Ghost Rider. And all it was Lobo sitting there holding Ghost Rider's skull, lighting his cigarette, lighting his cigar, and you see destruction, shit in the background, and you see his body sitting laying there with a stop sign post through it. So he whipped out 2 of his better pictures. One was Thor. Actually, I got prints of that, where Thor has his hand up, and it's like this light. It's a dope picture. And then he did this one of Batman and the Joker, where he tried to change the look of the Joker, which people are doing now. Before Joker always looked the same.
Yeah.
He was the first people I've seen do it. He also did a different Batman too, where Batman was a black guy and he was over on the West Coast. But anyways, did this picture of Batman, and then you had the Joker's head behind him. And so it was those 2 against mine. And the one that won the entire thing was the Lobo picture. And I did that in one night. The Superman took me forever to do. And I ended up giving that picture away. The wife was like, no, I like the Lobo. You can't give that away. So that one, I think I beat him by 2 votes. But there was multiple pictures to vote for. But that had the most votes. Even though most people thought it was like Gene Simmons. I'm like, well, Lobo does look like Gene Simmons, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's inspired it. So yeah, we had a bunch. It was like a big ass parties, people I didn't even know, and everybody was voting. And so there was a big thing tallying out the back. And I think that hurt his pride, because he finally lost to me, and I've been chasing.
His little brother can't do that. He
yeah.
lost his little brother.
Yeah. And the thing is that, I don't think he's ever lost to me, but I've lost to him so much that, it inspires me to do better. When I lose something, I'm like, nah, fuck that. My mentality kicks in. I'm like, nah, I'm coming back harder and I'm coming back stronger.
Yep.
So, and that's what I've done over the years. When someone comes up here, and especially when it comes to art, if someone like that guy who said, oh, you quit drawing, no, I'm not going to quit just because one person says it. I'm not going to quit when I have 30 people tell me, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep doing what I like to do. And that's what I call everybody else to do. When someone comes up to me, and there have been people that are really, really good, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, I said, you get older, you need some help, come look me up. I said, you're really, really good, you know. I'm not afraid to say that, you know. Dude, I think you're better than I am. Really? How old are you? Well, I'm like 16. Actually, I met a girl that was 16. Dude, she was fantastic. And I kept telling her parents, I'm like, you need to send her somewhere. You know, her parents are standing there. And I'm like, I'm smelling food or something. You cooking hot dogs? She didn't answer me. But anyways, I'm sorry.
There you go, good man.
But no, I told him, I was like, you need to send her somewhere, you know, because I was like, you got more stuff? She's like, oh yeah. She flipped her phone out and was showing me all these pictures that she did. I said, are these your characters? She says, oh yeah, you know, I just like, and the thing is weird. She said, I don't like Nazis, but I like their costumes, you know, I like their outfits. So she was drawing all these like uniforms and shit. I was like, Jesus. I said, you could pick what you want to be. I said, you're good enough to be, you know, any type of artist that you want to be. I said, that being said, if you want to do like comics or manga, I said, you're going to have to work on sequential work.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing. So for people out there that think you would, I can do comics, it's not that easy. You know, doing sequential work is one of the most important things. You have to be able to tell what the person is doing. You can't just go by the words, because that's one of the most compliments I usually get is when people look at my art, you know the story almost just by looking at the panels.
Yeah.
You have to read it. You know, you want to read it because there's hidden information in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you need to be able to look from panel to panel to tell what's going on. And the easiest way I describe that is you know, it's like a movie. You know, when what they call this thing? You know what I'm talking about, right? The cards and stuff that tell the stories that they'll
storyboards.
Yeah, storyboards. Sorry, my brain ain't working right. But yeah, they'll have storyboards, and basically those are just panels on a page. You can put them together. And so once I've described it that way to a few people, they start understanding it better. You know, but some people just aren't cut out to be comic book artists. They're really good artists. You know what I'm saying? So, well, you could be a cover artist, you know, if this is what you like drawing. I said, but doing sequential work, I said, that's work. You know what I mean? You got to really like to do it. So
I know several guys, really great artists. They could not do sequential to save their lives.
It's hard to do, man.
Yeah. And they couldn't keep the consistency from panel to panel and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's a huge chunk, man. You got to have that consistency. And every panel the character would look different. Everything would look, because, you know, he can draw great, you know, pinups, artwork, but could not do sequential for nothing. And that, and you're drawing, you know, when he's doing stuff like, you know, fucking 12,
11 by 17,
11 by 17, and then he goes to having to draw and put somebody in a square that big, and he's like, it's too much for him. So,
or what you could do is just draw bigger panels, and then nowadays you can put them on a computer
and shrink them. Yeah, but that was back in the fucking day when everybody just used, you know, fucking 11 by 17s and
yeah.
So.
A friend, well, I started off, me and my brother did, by using notebook paper.
Yep.
I mean, if you look at some of the stuff like the original Saga of Neutron Gods, it's on like printing paper.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so what I've done is I've gone and put it in the computer. I've blown it up to 11 by 17, and then I'll print it out, and then I'll go over it. And some of the old stuff, you know, I literally will redraw a panel. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, that's horrible. You know, and I'll go back and rework it. So to me, that's the easiest thing because it's already there. You know, so you can't steal from your own work. You know what I mean? So, but for everybody else, you know, like Kevin likes to work with big stuff, you know. Small is hard for him because he's like, man, you put so much detail in. I'm like, dude, that's light. I didn't put a whole lot of detail in there, you know. But I literally had my brother's friend, his name was Steve Brewington. Back in the day, we had a studio called CSI. This is before the crime scene investigation. So if we'd have, you know, copyrighted that, we'd be rich. But anyways, there used to be Chimera Studios Incorporated. And he like taking my pictures. Like I would draw, like I had like a notebook that I drew from like when I was in college. And he's like, dude, you put so much detail in your stuff. He said, you don't lose any of it either. I said, what are you talking about? He said, whether you blow it up or you shrink it, your detail is there. I said, what are you talking about? So he took a picture I'd drawn probably about like this. This dude was a dragon rider from a D&D game that I played.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, rearing up like this. And so he blew it up. The picture is probably about like this big. He blew it up to about like this, and all the detail. I mean, it didn't lose anything. Yeah, he's like, damn. I said, I didn't understand what he was saying. You know what I mean? It took me years to understand what he was saying. It was just the way I draw. I didn't know how. I don't know how to draw any other way.
Oh yeah.
Now, like if I try to do a style like anime, or if you want me to draw old school, I can do that too, So I've trained myself, but the thing is that I don't really have my own style yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got your Ren McKenzie's out there, you got your Brian Latimers, you got your Watsons, and I'm trying to think of some bunch of other artists I know out there, but what I'm saying, if you look at their picture, you can tell it's theirs.
Yeah, yeah.
You look at mine, you can kind of tell, but what I'm saying, I don't have that stylized look that a lot of people have now. I'm still kind of like the Jim Lee-ish old style. You know what I mean? And that's fine with me. I would like to eventually develop a stylized version for myself. I've tried, but I revert back. What I mean?
Yeah.
I can't get to it.
Yep.
And some people can. And those artists I appreciate more than anything. So when I'm at the shows and people bring me stuff, dude, I appreciate everything. It takes a lot to come up with stuff like that.
Oh yeah. 100%. Jeez.
That's like for you. Even though I know you don't draw, do you?
Not anymore.
Okay, I have. Also, you used to draw?
Years ago when I was younger, I basically, my hands are fucked up now. If I want the character, I kind of sketch what I want the character to look like, and then I let people make it that, tweak it and clean it up.
Because didn't your son want a dragon?
Yeah.
And I remember starting to draw the dragon, and then I gave it to Latimer. I said, "Here, finish this."
Yep.
Then
it's still. I found that the other day while I was. Yep.
And he's like, "Man," he said, "You pretty much finished." I said, "No, I didn't. I thought you was going to add more to it." Like, what the hell, man?
Yeah. No, what I do, and this is the best. I went from being able to draw when I was a kid. I did a Paul Smith style artwork, so mine was very smooth. As I got older, my hands started hurting. I started doing really like Sinkovich, the really hard angled lines and shit. And so basically, like I said, I would just sketch out what I want characters to look like for people, and then let them, make them better.
Yeah, you would do a basic rendering and then let them.
Yep. I did a book I had written. It was my anti-He-Man book. Because up until relatively recently, none of them characters died. They were fighting with swords and magic and everything else, but nobody got injured. This one was
filmation for that.
Yeah. But I wrote a book, and that was my and it was funny because I did an anti-Skeletor. So instead of he's got a staff with a human skull on it, and his face is a fucking big goat head skull instead of the Havoc staff, backwards. And I created that. I created all these like darker parody versions of the He-Man characters and stuff like that. And literally like the Beastman character in the first issue I wrote, couple of pages in, basically like their Beastman character takes Tila's character and like rips her in half on the battlefield. And I'm like, if you're going to be in battle fighting giant monster men and shit like that and creatures, shit like that's going to happen. And that happens in like on page like 3 or 4. And and it's brutal as fuck. And so I sketched out all the characters I created, and it was all this really kind of hard, angly style. And everybody who read the first issue loved it, and they're like, ah, "This will never see the light of day." I was like, "I don't care at this point." I was like, "Because
You were enjoying writing it, yeah,
yeah, I had fun writing it because I wanted to see this is what I wanted He-Man to be like."
yeah.
And
As a kid, that's how we played with them.
oh yeah, yeah. So this is what I did, and they're like, "Oh, Mattel in front of me." I'm like, "But it's not. It's satire or parody, so it wouldn't fall into the knockoff or the plagiarism." You
Yeah.
know, um, sure they had similar powers and stuff like that, but it's all yeah, but it's all just a really really dark. But how many knockoff versions of Star Wars are there? How many knockoff versions of you know fucking GI Joe started out as Sergeant Fury Jr. and the Agents of Shield. That's what our current version of GI Joe came from.
Yeah.
Because that's what Larry Hama was writing when he got the job for GI Joe. So all that shit started somewhere. So mine was just a a meaner, evil, bastardized version of Motu.
Now, my brother he started a story. He had a tendency to do that. Draw like 3 or 4 pages, and he did a He-Man story.
Mm-hmm.
But in this, he was taking all the old action figures that we got, and he was putting them all into one story.
Yeah.
And you remember Power Lord?
Yeah.
The dude that flipped around and shit?
Yeah, I got one around here somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, he had him in this story. But in this story, it was Skeletor had basically won. He had drained all the power from Castle Grayskull and killed the sorceress. And him and He-Man were, still duking it out. And I remember he shot this blast and melted He-Man's shield. It was Eternium or whatever.
Yeah.
And He-Man's like, wear this for a crown. So he threw the axe at him. He took the axe, transformed it, landed in his hand. It was a crown, and he put it on his head. And then he switched scenes, and then it's like elsewhere, and they had Power Lord. He had like a silhouette of him sitting in this chair, and then something was going on, and he never finished it. I was like, man, see, I said every time your shit gets good, you stop.
Dude, that's what happens. I talk about this on my Sci Friday show. At one point, I was working on a book, and I was taking all those late 70s, early 80s action shows and sci-fi shows that got like one season or maybe two.
Bits of science.
Yeah, I made an Avengers team out of those characters.
Oh yeah.
So it was Matthew Starr.
Yep.
Manimal.
Yep.
Automan.
Yep.
Street Hawk.
Okay, I remember him.
And
Man from Atlantis.
See, Man from Atlantis Harry had a comic, so I couldn't. And I can't remember who the other one was, but it was they became a superhero team. Like Street Hawk was like the Batman, Automan was like the Iron Man, Werewolf from the Werewolf TV series was the Hulk of the group.
Okay.
Matthew Starr was like the I guess the Jean Grey, and I was writing this book, and I went ahead and said, fuck it. So I started contacting the licensing about them. And some of them were like, yeah, we haven't used that property in fuck all ever. Go with it. If you make money off of that, we'll talk about it then. And I'm like, oh, fucking. Then, of course, I think Automan is like Glenn Larson. And they're like, well, we need this much money up front. And I'm like, dude, this is an independent. No one gives a shit about this character until I would do something with it. And it basically derailed it on just how much it was going to cost me.
Well, you know what Automan was based off of, right? It
was Tron.
Yeah. Was it Cursor?
Yeah, Cursor. I have the box set over there, so I love all that shit.
Yeah, because I actually had Tron, and I still got the light cycle.
Yeah.
I had Flint. No, I had Tron. Yeah. I had Tron. I had Sark. I still got Sark. Tron got broke. And then I had the light cycle. What about Crystar? You remember Crystar?
I got Crystar. I got the new Crystar too.
The old one, I had him, and he broke. He literally shattered. I forget what the hell happened to him, but shattered. But I got Magmar or whatever his name is.
Yeah, the bad guy. Yep.
Him. I still got Micronauts.
I don't have any Micronauts
I
now.
still got now. I got Metal Man.
I've got I've got like Sectors.
Yeah, I got those
I've
too.
got some Sec. Have you seen the new ones?
Yeah, the smaller ones.
No, Nacelle Toys does them now.
I
And
see where Dietrich had some in his
yeah,
store
those
at
were
Humble.
Zika Toys did those, the small ones. But here you go. They did the female,
Yeah, I
and
seen
then they
that.
did, and they are in scale to the old ones. They're jointed elbows instead of being like this all the time. Now
Yeah,
they,
that's what
yeah,
I hated about them.
yeah. But
Yeah, because I always got the good guys, but in that my brother got the good guys and I got the bad guys. And I was scared shitless to put my hand in that damn spider.
oh, see, I don't have the spider. I got the war beetle. I got the beetle. That's the one
Oh,
I
okay,
still have.
no, I had the spider.
Yeah, I had the spider and I had the dragonfly when I was a kid.
Yeah, the wings always broke
Yeah, the
off.
wings broke off. And then a few years ago, I ended up getting the battle beetle and some of the other ones, and I moved them. I think I boxed them up because everybody they kept falling over. So I had, but no, I've got Power Lord. I got him with the flippy action.
Yeah, he broke too.
Uh, well, his legs are horrible because his legs are like bent in.
Yeah,
Feet are really close together, so he stands like shit. And then I got all these obscure toy lines, and then of course I got my He-Man, my except for right now I got so many He-Man that the new stuff that I just said hell with it, and I only buy Skeletors now.
let me show you something I got now. I found this. You might recognize this.
Oh, it's the Starbird.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was at I forget what it was. Oh, hell's that place? Xenia, that one they got up there, that 68 or whatever.
yeah. The
Yeah, so I go back there, man. This thing's all like tar ridden and everything else. And so I'm like, ooh, I remember this. I was like, this was where Starbird, remember I said about
yeah.
saying that? It's where I got the name, was from
Yep.
this. And so I seen that sitting back there. I'm like, what you want for that, dude? And he's like, $40. I was like, nah, I ain't doing 40. I said, I'll give you 20. He's like, 35. I said, 20. He's like, man, I can't get no lower than 30. I said, 20. And he's like, well, I can't do it. I said, all right, see you. So I started walking. He's like, hold on. He's like, 30. I was like, all right, does it work? And he's like, what do you mean? I said, does it work? Well, I don't know. 20. He's like, all right, 20. So I end up getting it for 20. So then, they're laughing at me. He's, oh, you got a space stick, because it's kind of like a phallus. So I was like, all right, whatever, man. So I went there with my wife and her sons, and they get some stuff. So I'm walking around there. We're spending money, and I see a pit up there that I've been wanting. The guy's wanting $700. I ain't doing that. So this is the only thing I really walk out of there with. So I'm looking at it, and I'm like, okay. So the only thing wrong with it really is this turret's guns broke off on him.
Yeah.
So
Super common.
Look, let's see some light on it better. Oh, maybe that's too much light. But if you look, it's fairly clean.
Yeah.
So the tar wiped right off. So then I start looking it up. And I'm seeing where this right here, people are selling for like $20.
Yep.
What the hell do I got? So I look it up, and the closest one I found that's as complete as this, and it still works. So, yeah, that's all you can really do. And then you'd hit the buttons and it'd fire lasers and stuff like that. But the closest one I found was like $120, and I was like, so I'm laughing at them. They're like, what are you laughing at? I said, how much you pay for that? And he's like, oh, I paid this much. I said, yeah, that's about right. I said, you remember how much I paid for this? He said, yeah. I said, this is $120. So I beat you guys by $100. I said, so yeah, suck on that space dick. They just start laughing at me and shit like that.
I got one of those because I helped a friend clean out his parents' house, and his toys are still in his bedroom that he moved out of. And he's like, I don't know, do you want these? I'm going to throw them away. And they were Star Wars toys and shit like that. I was like, just put them in my car.
Yeah.
I just walked them out and put them in my car. And the Starbird was one of them. The one I want is the tank. that came the little 6-wheel tank.
I never
You
seen
push
that.
the buttons and it would drive in the different.
Oh, yeah. That wasn't part of the same line, though, was it?
I think it was.
I'm pretty. I know they had a black one. They had
Okay.
two of them.
I gotta go to the glasses here.
But I know what you're talking about because that tank you could program to do different
Yeah,
stuff. But I don't think that was part of the same line.
I I thought it
There
was.
was a space station and that was it. And then there was a black one that you fight and they could shoot at each other. It was almost like what was that one that Captain Power?
Yeah.
Captain Power was the next after that.
Start.
But I know what you're talking about.
Specification.
Now you hear the music. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun,
Japanese exclusive Bandai Starburst.
dun,
I don't know, but I have to look. But, yeah, it's one of the ones where if not, we'll be here forever.
Do you remember the name of it?
Not off the top of my head. I remember the
Gonna make
tank.
me look.
I'm always on the lookout for one, but it's made for the same company. It's still the yeah, but
What was it Mattel? Who made that?
yeah, it's Mattel.
Was it?
Yeah.
So I'll go in here.
Yeah.
80s or 70s? Because that was in the 70s.
That's 70s. Yeah, it's the Mattel tank, Mattel electronic tank.
70s Mattel space tank, not metal. Oh yeah, Mattel. Okay. Nope. Nope. I don't see it. Is that it? No, I'm not trying to go to eBay.
Nope, that's
So
right.
now we're going to sit up here and look at this shit. Images. The only thing I'm getting are some old ass shit.
Yeah, they're bringing up like
They got a Cylon Raider on here though.
Yeah,
I remember I had that too.
I had a whole bunch of that stuff. I still got a
one of those fighters.
I know I keep I have a whole bunch of the Cylons.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Search. There we go. It keeps wanting to bring up the Shogun Warrior tank.
The only thing I'm seeing are like battle tanks.
I don't know. It's
I know
literally I know it almost looks like a cross between like a HISS tank and a little 6-wheeled vehicle. But yeah. I don't know. Fuck, I'll have to find it.
70s Mattel remote space tank. Is that it? Programmable space tank.
Yeah.
Is that it?
No. I don't know. Fuck it. But I've got to get ready to get off here though because my wife's.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yes, that's it.
I knew exactly
the big
what you were talking about.
The big track. Yes. Holy shit.
Hey, me and Google get along, man.
There we go.
Just tell exactly what you're looking for. But I know I've been on here late. I'm sorry. I'm not.
No, you're all good. You're all good. We can always talk again
shit.
sometime. But no, okay.
Yep, now I got everything hooked up. It shouldn't take me as long to hook back up.
There we go. So before we leave, tell everybody where they can find you at online.
Okay, as far as Twilight Star Studios go, you can find us on Facebook. Everybody pretty much has their own little site going, but you can go there for the main stuff. Also, I'm on Instagram. I'm under Timidar Studios. So I post a lot of Twilight Star stuff there. Hopefully, you guys come out and see us. We will be hitting shows hard this year. Hopefully, we'll be at PickleCon. Gem City is usually where we're at, and also usually Champion City. Those are the big 3 shows that you'll find us at. On top of that, you'll find independent other artists from the studio doing other shows. Some people like to go down to Cincinnati, Kentucky, and some of the other shows like that. But other than that, I don't have anything else unless you would like to add something, sir.
Yeah, I'm good here, but it's always a pleasure talking to you. It's always a pleasure hanging out with you. We got to do that more often in person and not via the. But you're one of the coolest guys I know. We've been friends for shit. I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, man, we've been knowing each other for like 20 years now. It's crazy.
It's close to it, yeah.
Yeah. And well, it's, me and Jesse had that conversation the other day when I was hanging out down at his house. I was like, man, the fact that we've known each other, and I've talked to Pete about this. It's like, shit, we're going on. Some of us have been friends for like 25 years. And it's like, it doesn't seem like that long, but shit, we're old now.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Dude, I'll be pushing 50 this year.
I'll be 50 this year.
So will I.
I'll be 50 in June.
I'll be 50 in May.
Ah.
But anyway, look at 74 rocks, man. It's the best year ever.
Hell yeah. 74 is a great damn year. So marking the half a century of Gary and Paul this year. So that makes us real fucking sound real old saying that we're half a century old.
Dude, I've been married for 20 years, so
hey, ooh. March, I've been married to Tina for 25 years. October, we were together for 30.
No, I think about 18 years. Yeah. But we've been together for over 20.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, like I said, my wife's a damn saint. She put up with me for 30 years.
I'm the same boat, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
We got lucky. We got women that take care of us, and
that's right. So. I'll be out there drunk like I'm Gammy. Come get me. Where you at? Stay there.
Yep. Not me now. I'm like, I'm downstairs. What are you doing? I'm high.
That's funny.
I'm just like, you come to bed? Yeah, give me a minute.
Next time, I'll have to tell you some of my horror stories.
Oh yeah, we'll have touring horror stories on the next time with Gary Church.
Oh, the worst are the Twilight Star parties. When I used to have the Twilight Star cookouts, I've had people puke all over my bathroom door. I've had people kill my bushes. Oh man, I've had people shit in the yard. I had all kind of crazy stuff going on with these things, man. I don't have them anymore.
That's why.
That's what people used to try to drink with me, drink shot for shot. I'm like, and then finally they learned. They like, someone new will come in. Hey, I'll drink with. Dude, don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't tempt fate, man. Don't tempt fate.
Yeah, it ain't that. I'm like, just so you know, every time you're doing a single shot, I'm drinking a double. What do you mean? Because my glass is a double, and I usually kill it all. And I'm usually done with this before you're done with yours. So I'll sit up here and do like 3 in a row.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're like, oh yeah. We used to get. Yeah, I've had people pass out. Twilight Stars were the best parties, man. Next time I have one,
Next time. So, and this, hopefully, I'm going to go upstairs for a little bit. I'm going to edit this one because it don't need much editing. I got to edit a little bit at the beginning, a little in the middle. But I'll put this together, and this will drop at noon tomorrow.
Noon tomorrow? Yep. Okay. I'll make sure I put it out there.
Cool.
Hold on a second.
And if you know anybody else would want to be on the show and talk comics and shit, let them know too. So, but
oh, now I got you on my phone, so I'm gonna post it. Getting interviewed by this guy here.
Yep.
Always a pleasure, man.
All right, man. Always a pleasure. Go get you some hot dogs, evidently.
I'm better because that was that Red Robin. Yeah, I wasn't impressed with them. Sorry.
See, I like Red Robin, but I only eat there every once in a great while. My kids freaking love that place. They'd eat there every day if they could.
Really? I don't know. The stuff I got tastes like metal today.
Yeah, so. But, man, you have yourself a good night, and go get your drink on.
It's always a pleasure. I'm glad you asked me to do this. So.
Yeah, man. We've been playing this for a while, and I was like, man, fuck it. Let's get Gary on here this weekend.
Yeah. So, I'll blame him. Hey, we're at the bottom of the barrel. There he is. I know he's down here somewhere.
No. Dude, this is what I love about my show. Is people have told me they're like, you need to focus on one group of people, whether it be artists, whether it be people in comics, whether it be actors, actresses, shit like that. It's like, nah, it's people I like. Number one. Number two is people that even if it's people I don't know, it's people that fascinate me, that make me do something different. People with good attitudes. I mean, I've shit canned one episode of this.
Oh, really?
Because I filmed the entire thing and the guy was not pleasant, and I shit canned the entire episode. I was like, fuck it, I'm done. I did the episode, recorded for like an hour and a half, and it did not. And I'm sitting there trying to edit it and looking at it. Maybe I was like, oh, well, if I fucking shrink it down. maybe do 40 minutes, cut out like an hour, like almost an hour of it. And the guy just, and I'm like, all right, fuck it, whatever. And I
Oh
scanned
wow.
it. I threw it all away. And there's other people that I've had falling out with. Click, fuck it, gone. I deleted it all. I was like, I'm not. You know what? You know what? I do this for fun, and if you take the fun out of it, I'm done with it. I don't need to
Oh,
bring.
now, I always enjoy talking to you because, like I said, you found out in the show we like the same stuff.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah. We've been, like I
So
said, we've been friends for a long time. We always have a
yeah,
good conversation. So shit. But you're always welcome. Anytime you want to talk about anything, you just give me a call. We'll fucking get you on the show. So
yeah. I mean, maybe next time I'll have like something to show you.
yeah, yeah.
I'll
If you
say,
got a book ready or something like that, hell yeah.
oh yeah, yeah.
But man,
Very much appreciate it.
hell yeah. So you have a good night, sir. And I'm gonna go upstairs and get my dogs outside because I know they need to go outside.
That's all right. I'm gonna go watch the game.
Go watch the game later, man.
All right. Have
See
a
ya.
good one.
You too.